Hello and welcome to the Shadow and Soul Storytime Podcast. I'm your host, Rayneen, and it is the intention of this show to share with you the lessons and the medicine that live within our everyday experiences. In this episode, I'm joined by a dear friend, Rhianna Quanstrom, for a conversation that really revolves around the process of fully and authentically stepping into self and the gifts that we're here to offer. One of my favorite things about this episode is that we look at both the shadowy ways in which we prevent this, as well as what this looks like in the day-to-day and in the mundane. If you find yourself throughout the conversation being touched, inspired, being served in any way, the greatest way you can share your support and gratitude is to subscribe to the show, to leave a rating and review, and to share with a friend. The more folks we have doing just this, the more folks will be able to reach. It's really just how it works, and so I really appreciate you in that. Now, before we dive in, I have an invitation for you to breathe yourself into your body and to hold an intention of, may all of me be as present as possible to receive whatever it is that's here for me. And with all that being said, let's dive in. All right. So I would love to start by sharing a little bit about my relationship with Rhianna, our guest for today, which, by the way, thank you so much for being here. Genuinely, truly. It is a gift, because otherwise I would just be the only one talking, and that's just not as fun. So for everyone listening, Rhianna and I first met / connected probably about a year ago. It was in, I remember, so where I was first introduced to her was in a Bones share circle, which what that is we share a similar teacher. Her name is Sabrina Lynn with Rewilding for Women. And I remember in a share circle specifically, which is just an opportunity to be in community and just share the work that we're doing together, she popped on and she shared something. And I just remember like literally leaning in and being like, I so resonate. Like I so see her. I so get her. And now my memory is fuzzy because I don't remember if I reached out to her or if you reached out to me, but someone reached out to somebody on, I think, Facebook. And then it just was this kind of slow process. And then we eventually hopped onto Marco Polo together. And then I think everything kind of just exploded from there. And so we've been through mystery school together, and really, again, back to this Marco Polo piece where it's this beautiful relationship where it's actually funny because we got to meet in person for the first time about a week ago. And one of the things that I realized was like, oh my gosh, like I know so much about you on this like deep soul level, but in terms of like superficial, and not in a negative way, but like superficial things, I'm like, I don't know anything. And so I'm just so excited that she's here today and that she'll be sharing with all of you and everyone else too, because there's just so much wisdom and medicine in her awareness and her experiences and the way that she shares and her vulnerability. And I'm just really grateful and excited.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I would love to give you a moment to share whatever about yourself you feel to in this moment, just so it's one of those like, who are we spending time with today? Whatever background, whatever anything you wish to share with those listening.
Yeah. A little bit about who I am. I would say some of the defining pieces is I'm an herbalist, and writer, so I spend most of my time working with the plants, writing about them. I am in love with nature and find my peace through that. And I've been on a spiritual healing journey now for a little over 5 years. And I would say most intensely for the past 4. And yeah, I feel like it's come full circle. Now I'm here and I get to share more about that.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So then this is where we get to dive into story. So what I'll invite you to do is close your eyes for a moment. And start to feel into whatever place feels most true for you in this moment in your body. And in that place, just this internal question to self of what is it that wants to move through me right now? Is there a specific story, a specific theme, a specific lesson, a specific struggle? And then we'll just trust that.
Mm. Mm. I would say for me, right now, a struggle is arising, which has been something I'm exploring and is connected to some of the things I wanted to talk about today, which is really this fear of being seen.
Mhm.
It is rearing its ugly head in this moment. I feel like I have such a rich inner life, such a rich spiritual life. But then when it comes to sharing myself and sharing that wisdom and putting myself out there, it's like I just close down and almost lose like all sense of that richness. And it's like, wait, what am I? Who am I? And so I think just bringing words to that in that moment is helpful for myself to kind of just bring awareness to that and see it. And then, yeah, just kind of let it organically move out of the space.
Mhm.
And what's really coming up for me right now in my spiritual journey specifically, which is really kind of exciting for me because I feel like it comes full circle over this past 4 years of this journey I've been on. But it's the archetype of the medicine woman. Ah,
Yeah.
she is so strong right now. Um, just in our mystery journey together, and our past circle that we did, she came up just intensely, and I feel like that's really relevant for my life right now because I feel like my journey was really kicked off with medicine woman and her teachings, and that journey started about exactly 4 years ago when I had an ayahuasca journey. And I feel like that in itself just holds that archetype beautifully, that medicine does, because it is so earth-based and shamanic and just primordial energies. And that experience changed my life. And ever since then, just deep healing, deep transformation, and just this deep connection to the earth and to animals and to the wisdom in the earth, wisdom in the plants, wisdom in the animals, and just letting those be my guide. And so I was really immersed in that for a while. And then things kind of started to evolve, and then I started doing some more like feminine reclamation work with Sabrina, and that is still intimately tied to that, but it was starting to take on a different flavor. And then more recently, I've been really, I would say, more devoted to masculine type practices of stillness meditation, no thought, and just like really diving into the ego and what that even is, and coming into a deeper knowing of true self and letting go of the identities that I've labeled myself as, and just kind of retracting a bit. And I would say really up until this last week, that's been a bit of a focus. But then, my goodness, in the past practices I've had, I am just feeling this deep, deep call to return to the roots, return to the medicine woman, and reclaim those gifts in a way, and kind of own them in a way that I wasn't able to before. And I think maybe the way that I wasn't able to before is because I really needed the foundation of understanding the ego. And I think before, it would my ego would get too involved in like the term medicine woman. And then it would be like, then it would start to kind of try to create an identity out of that. And obviously that isn't, that structure isn't strong. And so, yeah, now I'm coming to this place of knowing a deeper foundation of true self, which is it is eternal, it is divine, so it is formless, and leaning into that foundation that is connected to the infinite all of everything, and just continuously coming back to that, and then letting that, from that place, I get to now choose what I want my form in this life to be. What resonates with that deep foundation. And so I think that's what I'm focusing on in this time. And the first thing that is bubbling up and coming through is medicine woman. And I think that form is really what I am meant to pursue in this life, through herbalism, the teaching of plants, the healing of plants, through animal deep connection to land, and my gift to put it into writing, to put it into poetry, to share with others. And so, yeah, I think that is the basis of my story that I want to start with.
I love that. And it makes me so excited because I love the energy of medicine woman, right? The archetype, what does that mean? And I feel like gets to mean something different from every single person, right? Medicine woman could look
Yeah.
a million different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I love it. So here's the thing. Do you have something that you already know you want to share next, or would you like a question?
I would love a question.
Okay. So I feel like it's always my natural inclination because I have such a deep love, obviously, for the shadows. And so my question is when you're leaning into this like this energy waking up inside of you and you feeling called to move more toward that and your own unique expression, what are the like things you're bumping up against that you're finding?
Mm. The first thing that's coming up for me is part of this primordial feminine energy is an acceptance and a reverence for the life, death, life cycle.
Hmm.
And one of the things that has come full circle is in my ayahuasca journey, a predominant theme. And for those who are unfamiliar with what ayahuasca is, it's a plant medicine, a powerful hallucinogenic that is very sacred. And you often have intense visuals, full body experiences where you are completely in the vision. And so for me, I was a predator for a lot of that journey. I switched between different predators. I was a fox. I was a jaguar in the Amazon. I was a coyote. I was an owl. And what I was doing in that is I was hunting. And I had the experience of killing something and like actually having the experience of what it felt in my jaws to like bite down. And it was just so raw and primordial. And coming out of that journey, so confusing because I have no desire to kill anything. Like, I don't even like to kill bugs. I will take them out of my house. I have such a deep love for all creatures that, yeah, it just felt so that energy and feeling that energy within me felt so foreign that I tried to sit with it like, what does this mean? And just no answers. Um, and now I feel like it's coming full circle where I feel like I'm starting to kind of understand what those visions meant. And it came up again with pulling up the medicine card of the alligator, which is a, um, a symbol of this primordial feminine energy of death and rebirth. Um, and I feel like I wrote it down. And so I'm just going to share that because I feel like when it was coming through is how I explained it best. Um, yes. Okay. The alligator, a vessel of death, jaws that kill, a rite of passage for life, leaving this phase to enter the next. The gatekeeper, the mother of birth and death, guardian of the sacred waters, the divine womb of creation. And so what I'm kind of starting to see this is like death as a rite of passage.
Mm.
And with this medicine woman, an aspect of medicine woman is midwifery. And so being a midwife, not only for birth, but also for death. And how can I be a midwife for, oh gosh, this is going to sound so weird, but like a midwife for my own death in a way, and not like physical death, but internal deaths, deaths of self, deaths of things that no longer serve, because I and we as humans have such a tendency to want to hold on to things, even things that no longer serve, just because of little mind stuff. And I think I am now reclaiming that gift of discernment of when something needs to be let go of, it needs to die. Can I support myself through that process? Can I be a midwife for myself in that? And it's really just like death of old belief systems, death of ego, weird like relationship patterns. And that's like kind of what I brought up at the very beginning of this tendency for myself to, feel so confident and true to self when I'm alone. But then when I am with other, just to have anxiety and, limiting beliefs come over, insecurities, to where I feel like that true essence becomes distorted. And yeah, I feel like I'm just now on this path of, can I bring that wisdom and true self into other? And I feel like it's so perfect for the astrology right now too. The new moon in Libra that's about to happen. Libra is all about other and relationship to other. And then the South Node, which is, our collective karma and individual karma and what we've came from. I just feel like it's so aligned to the energetics of this time.
Yeah, not even to mention the eclipse part, right? Like on the South Node, this like letting go of death to another version of self. I love it. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You made this comment that like you're like, I don't know if this is weird. We started talking about being a midwife to self through your own death process, and I don't think so at all. But who am I to say that, right? Because what it brings up is, I believe it was about not quite a year ago, but for me last year in like the November-ish time, I had just finished like opening Shadow and Soul and starting Shadow and Soul, and I had a practice where, and I believe I may have told you this before, but just for everyone listening too, this practice where it's like twofold. I had two different ones. This first one that came up is like I was literally witnessing a part of myself die, and like in that practice, it was it was like I knew that this part of me had to die. And I think at first, right, I'm looking at this part of myself, and for me, this part of myself is this, if I have to slap a label on it, it'd be like the workaholic, right? This part of me that had just been so going, trying to do, trying to achieve, trying to prove, overdoing, overworking, like it was over, right? In an unhealthy kind of way. And so part of me watching this part of myself die is like I know I know it's time. Like I know that it serves to let go of. And there's this part of me that's like so ready for it to be gone because it's creating chaos and, dis-ease in my life. And at the same time, it was like, well, I'm witnessing this part of me like on its deathbed, basically. And I'm not gonna be like, good, fuck you, die. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's like that's the word. It was this really like tender, like, oh my gosh, like, yes, I know this serves, and yes, I know I have to let it go. And yes, I know it's on its way out. And there was this like this tenderness, this like sweetness, this being with someone on their deathbed. Like you're just gonna comfort them, you're gonna love them, you're gonna give them the space to have whatever final experience they need to have, and you trying to honor the experience that they are. And for me, looking at this part of myself, it was like, oh, it became very sad. There's it's like before that there was this part of me was like, oh, I just like need to like let this habit and way of being going, this kind of like anger or frustration, which is fair in that moment of it on its way out, though, is like, oh, and you've so gotten me to where I am right now, and you've gotten me to where I am right now, and there's so many beautiful things about you and qualities. And so it's just this really, it's interesting because like you said, we, even when we know things don't serve anymore, there's this part that's like hard to let go of. And uh, I think it can be a really sweet practice to know that when we are letting go of something, that it doesn't have to be this like aggressive, like, like I'm done, I'm gonna cut. And sometimes it's necessary to just totally cut something off, right? And I think it also can be a really beautiful practice to look at what is on its way out in this very reverent honoring of it. How can we keep those gifts that came from that part of self while releasing, like, and letting go, and like letting basically go to rest, right? Go to be in peace, these other parts. Which then brings up the question for you of, do you have words around this part of self that you feel you're assisting to the other side, and like what comes up with that for you?
Mm. Yeah, I might have to sit with that. Um, I think whenever we are releasing a conditioned pattern, it's not, even though I have words for it and I have awareness around it and I'm aware that this process is happening, it's definitely not a one and done deal. And so I think for me, it's just practicing. It's like, okay, I have had this realization, I have had this awareness. I know this no longer serves me, and I am actively releasing it. And I think in order to do that, to let the release happen, requires tremendous presence and awareness. And specifically, this pattern in relationship, I think it's only going to come through me being aware of myself in relationship. Like, what am I feeling? What's coming up? Like, where am I closing down? And just each time, just like, okay, can I relax a little bit more? Can I open myself a little bit more? Can I, let the mind go a little bit more? And I think that is this process. It's, I think when I am in deep practice and I'm really in the intensity of it, that is going to be deeply transformative. Yes. And I think that's necessary. But it is when it is in daily life, in active relationship with my husband, with my mom, with you, with strangers, with my neighbor, that is the practice. And yeah, I don't know if I answered the question, but
No, it's okay. Like it's a big question, and you're right? It's never like a one and done. It's this layer after layer after layer, and situation after situation and situation. So then maybe here's another question. Where are these opportunities that you're seeing to soften and shift and open and show up different?
Yeah, well, definitely with my husband, Riley. I'm really noticing it a lot. Obviously, because he's the person I spend the most amount of time with. And yeah, like even just this morning is a great example. I'm leading up to this interview, and I'm noticing this tension, anxiety. And he's making me breakfast. He's making sure that I am all taken care of. But I notice there's a little bit of internal frustration that I am irritated, or there's internal frustration that I am tense, that I am feeling anxious, because there's this little belief going on that I should be completely relaxed and open. And so I'm noticing this like tension and internal frustration. And then I notice that irritation is now wanting to go at him. And so I don't even know what it specifically was, but I had this moment of like wanting to be like, okay, babe, like my thing's in 40 minutes. Like I need my egg. Like, come on, let's go. And I was just like, okay, wait. I didn't say anything. None of this actually came out, which is definitely progress. It was just, I had this moment of being like, whoa, let's just rein it in, and it's just continuously coming back to self is what it really is. And knowing that is ego, that is little self, creating those thoughts. That is one of the terms that Eckhart Tolle, I'm not quite sure exactly how you say his name. I've been diving into his books, and one of the phrases that he uses is the pain body. And I really like that. And he kind of describes it as the pain body is separate from self. It's this other entity that comes alive within you. And that, I think, is what is happening when I have social anxiety or stuff comes up with other people. It is my pain body becoming activated. And, I think it's this protective, yeah. And so I just think that's what was happening in that moment is I am nervous for this interview. So my pain body is activated. And then one of the things that he also teaches that when the pain body is activated, it wants to feed. It wants to strengthen itself. And
Ooh.
so it was wanting to strengthen itself by creating conflict, by directing it like, I don't want this, I'm going to direct it at you. And it's like now it feels more satisfied. But ultimately what that does is it just creates more conflict. It just creates more tension, more anxiety. And so I just really had that awareness of this is activated in me. And so then it comes back to that beautiful, beautiful thing about the spiritual journey and about awakening is that you get to have choice. And in that moment, I got to choose, is this how I want to direct my energy? And it's like, no, I do not want to direct my energy in that. It's just not beneficial. It's not kind. It is not being present to what is actually happening. And what is actually happening is that he is gifting me in this moment. He's meeting my needs. And so, yeah, I got to choose to basically just let it go.
Yeah, good job, because that's not easy.
No, it's not.
Because I think that, when we're not aware, we do operate from a place that is essentially unconscious and reactive, right? So
Yeah.
it's bringing that awareness, being able to say like, okay, like this is all happening on the inside, he's doing this thing out here. And you, again, it's like the awareness allows the choice. Like there's this film in front of you that's like, okay, like, can I keep it in here? Can I work through this process here so that it's not like, it's like spilling out and shooting at him? And he hasn't, like, oh,
Yeah.
well, good job, friend. I know that that's hard. It's also so fascinating. I am so fascinated by our humanness and our mind, and just in those moments of getting to watch this whole thing happen on the inside. And it's like, okay, I'm feeling this way. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And I love what you said about the feeding piece, because that
Yeah.
really resonates. It's like, ooh, that little egoical reactive self, when it gets like fired up, when it gets triggered, like I'm like, ooh, yeah, hungry. Like,
Hmm.
mm,
It wants to be strengthened. And,
mm,
because I think in that moment of feeling strengthened, it does feel pleasurable. And I mean, it's short lived for
yeah.
sure. It just wants more and more and more. But I think that's a basis of the ego, is that it is continuously seeking short lived pleasures. And even though it doesn't seem like conflict is a pleasure, in a way it is. Um, it's just, I don't know. I hope you know what I mean by that. It's kind of hard to explain.
No, I do. There's this, give me a moment to see if I can find the right words for this question. What, when we're looking at, we'll call it what you called it, the pain body, right? So this pain body in this moment, what do you feel what was it looking to receive in its like eating, right? Like in its like feeding itself, like what would that have ultimately done for it? Like, do you have a sense of like what it was like looking to strengthen specifically? Like,
Mm. I think so. The pain body and the ego are basically two sides of the same coin. And one thing that I've learned about just like the basis of the ego is the foundation of it is separation, separateness from other. And so I think when that was occurring, it was wanting to put blame on the other for my internal feeling. And in that way, separation is created. that it is strengthened, so to speak, the I versus you. And it's your problem, it's not my problem.
Mm.
And so I think that there could be deeper stuff. I think I would have to sit with it.
Yeah. So, and this may or may not resonate, this other question around that piece, because you were saying that the anxiety initially you felt was like you're nervous about this interview, and we kind of started this conversation around your fear of being seen, and then with the medicine woman piece of basically like a fear of bringing more of that into your inner world to your outer world, essentially. So here, let me find. And it feels so slippery, and I may be picking up on something that like I have also internally struggled with, and we'll just see like if that resonates for you. So I'll use myself as an example. So hold on a moment. The word permission is what keeps coming up. It's almost like for myself personally, like there have been times where I'm not giving myself permission to be scared or to feel that way. Like it's not okay. I shouldn't feel scared. I shouldn't feel anxious. I shouldn't feel closed up. I should be more open. I should and when I don't give myself that permission to just feel what I'm feeling, to be afraid, to be whatever, to whatever, it's almost like for me, and this is me, right? I'm not putting anything on you. For me, if I'm to use the terms that you're using, which I like, this animal body or egoical self, for me in those moments, it would be almost like, here, give me a moment. Ooh, the unconscious is slippery, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's like this self-sabotage of if I'm placing this expectation and I should be this way, and then I react this way, and I just kind of create this little like shitstorm, then it's almost like proving to itself like to not to more, like it's just creating more energy here that further doesn't allow me to be the thing that I'm hoping to be, instead of what you so beautifully did at the start, which was give it space to be. Like I'm naming the fact that I'm feeling this way, and in that you're still showing up, and actually you're showing up even more fully than by not acknowledging what's happening on the inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I deeply resonate with that I shouldn't be feeling this way. That was 100% what was happening. Is the initial anxiety was felt, and then it was like I should be more relaxed. And I agree with what you said of like it just creates this energy storm, and gets strengthened through more conflict and like validating the
there's
anxiety a word. And irritation.
Exactly. That's the word. Good job. Well, how beautiful though, because that's such a big win. That's such a big moment. I think we forget to sometimes celebrate and really acknowledge and honor those moments. One of my teachers used to say this thing where like, we're walking and we fall into a hole, and the hole being the reaction, feeding the pain body, all of that kind of energy. So you're walking, you fall into the hole. Next day you're walking, you still don't see the hole, you fall into the hole. Maybe the third day you see the hole, but you still fall into the hole. And you kind of like go on this path until one day where you see the hole and you make a conscious choice of like, oh, I'm actually going to walk around this hole today. And that takes a lot of awareness. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of patience and compassion, because we're going to fall in the hole. Like we're going to be reactive. We're going to feed that pain body. And on the other side of it, can we be super can we bring that awareness, and not in a way where of judgmental of like, oh, like I did the thing again. Instead of just like, okay, I did the thing again. And actually it was perfect, because here's just one more opportunity for me to strengthen this muscle of like, I have a choice. I have a choice. And that means that the next time I come up to this, I'm that much less likely to do the thing. It's something that's been coming up for me personally, especially this last week or two, is that kind of thing just right there, where it's the all the noise and the voices and the opinions and the not so helpful shenanigans, right? Like small self shenanigans, I love to call it. Like I love using that term. Just like kind of rising up. And sometimes I'm in a place where I feel so resourced and so strong and like just like so able that it's like the windows are closed, and it's like I'm kind of aware that they're there, but it's like they're outside. Like it's not an issue. And the last 2 weeks for me personally, it's felt like not only are my windows open, but for some reason I took the screens off, and like just like coming in. So now I'm like seeing them. I can still see they're this outside thing. It's just hard to battle sometimes. It's really, really hard.
How does that show up for you internally when the windows are open and feels overwhelming?
Well, if I continue using this example these last couple of weeks, it's a lot of I'll say insecurity, which for me is probably my biggest small self struggle. Is if I had to put a flavor, for me, it's like insecurity, like big time. And all of the ways that insecurity can then manifest, right? It can manifest like many, many different ways. And so whether it's coming up as this kind of like reviewing of a situation or a conversation, or I think just like getting stuck in a loop of like, oh, like questioning self-doubt, doubting self-doubt is a good word. Judging self, being critical, like those kinds of energies. And what I was actually telling two of my friends last night, Yvonne and Cynthia. I was following them last night, and I was telling them some of this, and maybe you'll understand this too, because I know you've done some rock climbing, but for those who maybe aren't rock climbers, there's, I don't even know the technical term. It's like when you're climbing, there can be like parts of rock surface where it's not necessarily straight up and down. It's like more sloped, and there might not be many foot or handholds, like not big divots or anything really to hang on to. So when you're climbing that kind of stuff, it's like teeny tiny. You're like, there's no way I could support myself like with these tiny, but because it's sloped, if you really like lean into the slope, like you distribute your weight differently, and it makes what you would think is impossible possible. And so I told them, I'm like, I'm just really trying to lean into this slope of faith and trust ultimately, right? That everything, this is a hard one to, it's like a hard faith to lean into. And when you can do it, I personally find that I'm just so much more supported. I could like it's like relieving, because it's like I can really lean into that everything is perfect and everything is happening exactly as it's meant to be happening, even quote unquote mistakes. Then it's okay. Then like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how that went, how this went, how like none of that actually matters, as long as I can lean into it was perfect. And if I can lean into it was perfect, then I can soften enough to be like, okay, if it was perfect, then what is here for me? And what am I being given the opportunity to see through non-judgmental or critical eyes? And when I see that thing, how does that inform me moving forward, so that I'm just learning and I'm growing and I'm having the experiences I need to have to evolve? It's a very, it's a very, like, that feels so much better than just staying in the shitstorm of like doubt and fear and anxiety. And like, it just compounds and it compounds and it compounds. And then we're kind of like you're saying, you're essentially feeding it until it's like complete sabotage. And who even knows? It could just be such a disaster. Yeah. Thanks.
Wow. I love that analogy of leaning against the wall, and oh, it's just so beautiful. Um, the wisdom of trusting that everything is perfect, because yeah, when you have full acceptance and non-judgment, it kind of, it's like it creates space between the experience and getting to look at the experience. And that is how true wisdom and insight is gained from it, because there isn't that, like, because when judgment and criticalness comes in, it's a closure, it contracts, and that does, and so then it's like you're in it now, and then the vision is obscured, it's dark, it's just, now you're just feeling that. And yeah, so when you lean into that trust, it creates enough space to fully accept and fully see, and from that place you choose, you basically have choice again.
Yeah, thanks for that. So I'm curious, is there, well, I don't want to, I'll do this. I will be more specific if you feel it's helpful to be specific, but I'll start with it just a little bit more general, like something to lean into first. Is there anything else that's like bubbling up for you? Or would you like a more like kind of tighter container of a question? I don't want to like limit what could possibly be bubbling up inside for you. But if you're like, yeah, I'll take whatever, then we can do that. But I just want to see if there's anything that's.
I don't feel anything at this moment. So
Okay.
Container.
Okay, cool. So I would like to come back to then, I'm curious about the medicine woman piece.
Okay.
For you. I mean, you could take this a couple of different directions. I'll give you a couple different questions and just whatever one feels yummiest. What do you feel like that could look like? Do you have any sense of what that does look like or feel like for you specifically? Like, how would that energy express through you? And or on the other side of it, what are some of the things that you feel you need to either release, let go, or purify in order to really start to figure out what that expression looks like on you? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll start with the first one. The first thing that's coming through is like, what does that look like? I think the most tangible example I can give is, I think it's just going to make me a better herbalist, for one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like adding more life force to my herbal preparations, my herbal formulas, and a lot of what I do for work is teach about herbs through writing, and I feel like it's just going to aid me in what most serves in this article that's just going on some website. What is the essence of this plant that in yeah, and then what's coming through too is, it's like, the archetype of the medicine woman can connect to the spirit of the plant. And so in that, it's like, how can I get more out of the way so that the essence of the plant comes through in this written form of this article? And just deepening my ability to connect with connect with plants, and go and sit with them and do a plant sit. And for those who don't know what a plant sit is, it's this beautiful meditation practice, basically, where you go and you sit with a plant, and then the practice is opening up your heart field to the essence of the plant and letting it basically teach you it, letting it give you its wisdom without your own understanding. It is just feeling the essence of the plant. And so I feel like, yeah, just claiming this is going to serve that. And another big piece of it is when I create herbal formulas, and also just when I, am taking them, or if I'm giving a formula to my husband, because I give him a formula every day, literally just putting it in the jar and infusing that with life force. Just infusing it with intention, with love, with healing. And so I just really brings a spiritual aspect to being an being an herbalist, which, is honestly how I think it was originally intended to be, and how it is the most powerful. So yeah, and then, okay, and then to go more off of that. Yeah, it's just this call to continue. Okay, so if I'm able to do that for my medicine, infuse life force healing, now the call is also just to do that for the land. And it's this deep call yeah, to heal the earth. One of the things that I believe is that it is I think it is impossible that science alone is going to be able to address the climate, global, just complete destruction that we've done to the earth. I don't think science is going to be able to figure it out. But that isn't to say that science doesn't have a part, because I think it does. But I think it is more so our inner transformation as a human collective, being able to have the experience of loving the earth. Like, that is how change is going to unfold. That is how those who have the scientific knowledge to address these problems, when they meet that with love and with this, spiritual understanding of interconnectedness, like, that is how true change is going to occur. And so, to kind of tie it into that question, what am I doing with that? Yeah, I just feel this servitude, to love the land. And then the second piece of that, like, what stuff kind of comes in the way of that? Again, it's the things that we've been talking about, is like it's just fears of judgment of other people, of just like, just fears of like, oh my gosh, she is fucking weird. Like, she is crazy. Who, like, what is she even talking about? Or also like, this is all complete bullshit too. Um, and then just like, oh, like she's a witch. She's in, all like the witch wounds that come up with that. And just, yeah, just like all this judgment of being seen. Um, yeah, like if I am out in the forest and I am doing an embodiment practice with the land, like, oh my gosh, what if someone comes sees me and they see this crazy lady out in the woods? And so then part of that energy that I am wanting to give to the earth is now constantly being like, can anyone hear me? Can anyone see me? Like, am I completely alone? Like, what if someone just comes around the corner? This is a public space. So yeah, I think it's really just comes back to the being seen, and can I authentically be myself when others are there?
That is no easy feat.
No.
I can so literally see it right now though, like you just in the middle of the forest having an embodiment practice. And love, I love it. And I completely understand the fears. Yeah, it's like unreal.
Yeah, and also, I think there's also a reason that the fear is there, obviously. And you know, is it and it comes back to this piece of safety too, of like, yeah, you know what? It may not be completely safe for me to completely open myself and be in this vulnerable place in a setting where a stranger can walk through, and so there is like, yeah, I think with like spirituality and those walking this path, this is something that I've run into, of like, how open should I be, because it's like, oh, open all the time, love filled all the time, and it's like, you can be love filled but also protect and
Mm-hmm.
understand sacred space, and those in attendance are also holding that sacred intention, and also places where, yeah, I hope you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, but I just felt like that was important to add.
No, you're absolutely right. It's because it's not that in no way, shape, and form is it being inauthentic to show up in one scenario differently than another in terms of like how open you are, how exposed you are, how whatever connected to what, we get to run that through our own discernment filter of like what is appropriate, what is safe, what is supported, what actually serves, right? Because it could be that, in your own backyard to like let your freak flag fly, like that could absolutely serve you. And if a neighbor sees you, well, like, fuck it. But it could also be like if you go out into some and it doesn't feel safe to you to open, then why, it's like, why are we forcing ourselves to do something that doesn't actually feel safe or in alignment? And so I guess a question that came up with this is in small, and I don't mean small and insignificant, just maybe more tangible, regular, day-to-day, mundane kind of ways. Are there any situations or scenarios that pop into your mind where you feel it would serve and it would be safe to express differently than you currently are, in terms of kind of like those, because we can talk about grand, big old things all, and what is going to make the most difference and be the most satiating for you are going to be those small, mundane, the daily connections and ways. So yeah, is there any of those that kind of pop up of like, that is a place that is safe and it does serve to unveil yourself a little bit more, where you currently maybe are feeling that like closure
Mm. Mm. Yeah, the two that are coming up. Mm. One is uh, my relationship to my husband. Just, yeah, just this is kind of like slippery territory. I just have so much internal conditioning and fears around the masculine, um, especially masculine embodied individuals, men. Yeah, just being seen in my fullness.
Mm.
That is something that he longs for. He wants to see me in my fullness. That has been made very clear. But for me to actually do that, oh my goodness, I run into so much resistance and fear. And then I would also say, in my capacity to do daily tasks.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it's like really normal to like either want to, rush through things and get things done as soon as possible, or just like, okay, what's all that I need to do? Let's get it done. Let's go. And like that energy has its place for sure. But it's like, can I do my daily tasks? Can I do the dishes? Can I do my writing? Can I fold the laundry, cook dinner, and stay open and stay present? And specifically for me, it's like when I get into the mode of like, this is what I have to do, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking about the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, after I'm done with this, I'm going to do this. And then when I'm going to do this, I'm going to, and so, uh, yeah, I can notice a tendency within myself to get stressed, to get overwhelmed, to think like, oh my gosh, this is taking so long. Oh, I have so much writing to do, and just like, just this, yeah, just the stress piece. And so, yeah, can I stay present? I think is really like, can I stay present? Trying to stay completely present when you're doing the dishes is so hard. I'm practicing, because obviously this is all practice, and my goodness, that because it's just so easy just to go somewhere off in the mind, because it's just one thing after the other, um and it's like almost like it's almost like boring
Yeah.
to completely be present to it, and so your mind wants to do something else. And then I actually do have another piece that's coming through. Oh yeah, I I actually, hmm,
Yeah, take your time.
oh yeah, another area of life of this, like staying open, letting wisdom come through, that is connected very much to what we've been talking to about, relationship with other, is something that came up for me recently is this awareness around expectation that like I put on others, and just so in that, in putting expectation on other, this is all little stuff, this is all ego stuff. In doing that, I have created a mental image of who I think that person is. This could be everyone, basically.
Mm-hmm.
This is this is who I think they are. But then what happens is like something happens to where that mental image isn't upheld. That expectation I've created isn't upheld. They do something that threatens that image, or like, oh, wait, that's not who I thought they were, or an expectation isn't met, or whatever. And then when that happens, and that mental image is threatened, basically, how do I respond? How do humans respond? It is with anger and judgment and criticism. And it's like, when really all of that judgment and anger is just coming from our own mental image of who we think that person is. And it doesn't actually reflect that person, because yeah, I hope you're understanding what I'm saying with that. And so, just this realization of, I have created these mental images, and in doing so, I am actually not being fully present to that being. I am not fully honoring who that person is, because I am just forming these thoughts and these images and stuff like that. And so I had that realization. Then I was like, okay, can I turn it back on myself? Can I acknowledge that other people have a mental image of me, and that I am not going to always live up to that mental image? Because a deep fear I have is a fear of disappointing people, of not living up to their expectations. And so, yeah, I think in order for me to claim this wisdom within, to let it shine through, I ultimately have to be okay with letting people down, with the mental image they have created of who they think I am, not living up to that, because I'm just staying true to who I am. And yeah, being okay with disappointment. And that is honestly one of the hardest things for me.
Oh, that was a big one. That was a really big one.
Yeah.
Thank you for going there. That's a very, I want to say, very real and vulnerable share. Thank you.
Thank you.
I super appreciate that, because the truth is, let me find the right words. We all do that in some way, shape, or form. And there's no judgment, right? There's no judgment on our judgment, because like we all do it. It's just part of who we are. It's part of our makeup. It's just part of it. And what I love that you did is you took ownership of it, not only by acknowledging that's what you were doing, you also used it as a reflection to look at yourself instead and see, okay, what am I seeing here in this thing that I'm doing to this other person? Like, what am I learning? What am I seeing about myself? I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I've found similar things in the past for me around my external judgments. And it's one of those, it's like, it's hard to look at, it's hard to sit with, and it's hard to own that. But when you do, that's where I think real compassion comes from, and where we can start to knock down some of our own limiting fears, right? Because if I'm judging someone else, then I know if I'm judging someone else, I am for sure fucking judging myself, right? Like if you're placing an expectation on someone else, you're for sure placing an expectation on yourself, right? It's like we get to see the way we treat ourselves and the way that we treat other people. We get to see a better reflection of ourselves when we see how we're seeing another person. And I really love that example. So thank you.
Yeah. And I love what you wove in there because, yeah, that's another thread that I haven't really looked at is like, is it okay to not live up to the mental image I have on myself? Yeah. I love that piece.
Yeah, good work, friend. So I'll have you, that was a lot. So we'll just take a moment to pause. I'll have you also take a deep breath in and out. And everyone who's listening too, to just take a moment and breathe and just kind of notice what is it that's sitting at the surface for you? What did that bubble up? What are you seeing? What are those like parallels and reflections? And for you, Rhianna, is there any like final bits that are swirling about that you wish to share? And if not, that's totally fine. I just want to leave room for that if there is.
I think if anything, it's just this invitation for all those who are listening. I really feel like the earth, Mama Earth, Gaia, just this sacred feminine, she needs us. And our fellow humans, us as a species, they need us. And so, yeah, just an invitation for all who are listening to go to a place you love in nature and just let love pour out of you, and just to let yourself feel what that love even feels like, and to let it nourish you, and to see if you can give it back. I think that's all.
Thank you. It's a beautiful invitation. So for those that are listening, are there any, if folks feel to connect in some way, are there ways that feels good to you?
Yeah. They are welcome to follow me on social media. I have Instagram and Facebook. I'm more active on Instagram, but that said, I am not like super active in general. I do post mostly my poetry there. So yeah, if anyone wants to read my poetry, it kind of is in alignment with what I've spoken here. They can follow me there, and that is Rhianna_MCC. So yeah, they can find me there.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on here and sharing yourself and letting yourself be seen and letting us see you, and just all the wisdom that you offered. And just the honesty piece. I feel like that's one of my favorite things about anyone who's in my inner circle is the willingness to be honest, not only with themselves, but with other people, like the realness. I really, really love it. So thank you.
Mm.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And everyone who's listening, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. We look forward to connecting with you whenever we get to next.
Mm.
Yeah.